Good evening and welcome to our June 3rd, 2014 Ogden City Redevelopment Agency meeting. Let the roll call reflect that all board members are present. First item on our agenda is public hearing for fiscal year 2015 proposed budget. Ms. Eller-Smith.
At the request of board leadership, I'm going to take a little bit slower stroll through the RDA budget for the benefit of board members and any citizens who might be interested in watching this. Just a little history on the Redevelopment Agency. It was actually created by a referendum vote in 1969, but wasn't because of some legislative issues authorized by the state until 1971. Since that time, there's been several changes in the laws that have affected redevelopment agencies. But currently, the city has 16 active redevelopment project areas, 1 urban renewal area, and 5 economic development areas. The Redevelopment Agency is created by state law. It's under the Limited Purposes Local Government Entities, Community Development and Renewal Agencies Act. And essentially it just creates its own unique entity that can enter into contracts, acquire and dispose of property, provide for urban renewal, economic development, community development, and probably the most important is to receive tax increment and finance agent activities and agency activities. And those are the things that really help the city, well, the redevelopment board work. So there's 3 types of development areas as under the current law. There are urban renewal areas, which are traditionally our redevelopment areas, economic development areas, and community development areas. Only urban renewal areas provide for eminent domain. The others do not. Just a little bit about tax increment, just so that citizens can understand. Tax increment refers to the incremental difference in property tax revenues due to increase in assessed value. So for example, if you have a piece of property that's pre-project that's worth $1 million, and then you invest some money into it and create a new project, and at the end of the project it's worth $8 million, that incremental difference of $7 million can now be diverted to cover some of the development costs. And this means that projects that might normally not get done because they were too expensive or the gap to make them economically feasible is too big, this helps those projects go forward and contribute to the long-term development goals of the city. But because that tax increment is diverted, which means that other taxing entities are affected by that diversion, the state has required the Redevelopment Agency to put together a taxing entity committee, and this is the taxing entity committee for Ogden City. We have representatives from the school district and the state Office of Education, 2 from Weber County, 2 from Ogden City, and then 1 representative that represents all of the other smaller taxing entities like mosquito abatement. So you can see, because diverting taxes can really impact the schools, that they have kind of have a weighted vote, if you will. So to the budget, because we have 22 separate project areas, each of those have a separate and distinct budget. There's administrative costs also included in the budget. And those are accounted for separately, similar to how we do in the city budget, where each department has their own individual budget. So each project area has its own unique budget because it has its own unique financial obligations. Some have debt or contractual obligations to developers. There's varying percentages allowed for administration in each of those project areas. There's some that have these housing requirements and some that can contribute to the recreation center. So I know you can't read that, but I wanted you to see this visual. This $18,743,500 represents the total budget for the redevelopment agency. And you can see there's big, larger chunks. We have the big orange is the CBD mall. DDO is the purpley pink color. The dark blue is West 12th. The lighter blue is Fairmont. And that beige down at the bottom, that is actually the administrative costs. So I've outlined just a summary of each of the redevelopment or the project area budgets here. Of course, again, it shows CBD Mall and BDO, Fairmount, the higher numbers. Notice that Golden Links is $800. That's how much revenue we get there. That's one of the older ones. And the remaining here as well, West 12th. And then the administrative costs are $1.3 million, and that totals the revenue of 18 and the total budget for the redevelopment agency at $18,743,500. And so that money can basically be broken up into the development projects in each of these project areas. Almost $17.5 million of that $18.7 million budget goes to development projects. The RDA board has a budget of $10,000. That's primarily for education and travel, and it's just a way to kind of take some of that burden off of the city budget when we can justify education and travel for the redevelopment agency. And then the administration of the RDA is a $1.3 million. That includes an amount of money that the RDA pays to the city for use of its staff, and also the 20% housing budget is reflected in that $1.3 million. So that is the total budget for the redevelopment agency, $18,743,500. And there were no changes based on our discussions with the board to this. So we would just recommend adopting it as proposed by the administration.
Any questions for Ms. Eller-Smith? Thank you for the slow stroll. That was very nice. This is a public hearing. If you have comments or concerns about the fiscal year 2015 proposed budget, if you come forward, give us your name and address. Limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Virginia Hernandez-Reza. Okay, this huge chunk of money that's come in, I'm concerned, we're concerned about the HUD monies that pour in here. Since we've been involved since 2000, this now is administration, and you city council people who are new or have been here forever, sorry. I'm going to go back to the community development. There's a lot of money that goes to the administration. They get a lot of money, that staff. And to me, that's sad. And what's more sad is that the people that it's supposed to go to, the low income and the minority, we don't know all this is going on, even though HUD says it should be public information. Now, I know that with the ones that aren't involved with my community, the people I represent, it's probably in there, out there, but we're going to stick with this because I'm looking through this budget and I'm very unhappy, and the people that we've been looking at this, and I'm hoping we can have a meeting with the mayor because I'm sure he does not know what we've been through. But here's the thing, with the community development, that money is supposed to go to the Blythe Enterprise area that comes from HUD, and that money is supposed to be diverted, used, but it's supposed to be under a staff that knows the community, that knows the people's needs, and they are supposed to reach out to the community outreach and do that, but it's supposed to be for all people, but it doesn't. This community development put whatever they want on their staff, city advisory, people who do not know our community, and they make decisions for us. And when they make the decisions, where they choose and pick a group of people or certain people that they pour the money into their needs, their concerns, well, the whole majority of the people I interact forever, we are lost. For 2 decades, we have lost for education, for businesses, for homes, for whatever that the HUD money comes into. 2 decades, and we have that all documented from the previous administration. This one is not going to happen. And the reason why I'm saying that, because HUD says we are supposed to, you're supposed to, and the people we vote here, you are supposed to have meetings, not just little meetings, advertise it so we can come to these meetings. That's just, that's what it's common with the community development. What I want to say, I'm going to make it really quick. I hope I can say it. Just 1 second, please, before my time is up. Just 1 second. Okay. We first start getting involved with the city council, we the people, the minority, that HUD is supposed to be helping. I got up the first time we got really involved with the city council, the mayor, and our city council people. This is what I said. It's on record. This is where I came to the meeting, spoke for the people. There was a lot of us here. The voters have been called a small minority or small groups, that we were narrow-minded, poor, intelligent, and spoke for a small number. The former mayor, Mr. Goff, got it right in his article, My View. He had seen the reality of the heavily populated grassroots, a force to contend with, because we are the disadvantaged, the uneducated, the powerless, the disenfranchised, the Black and Hispanic, Mexican, and those who dare question city government. They realize they can defeat a candidate or help split votes among a candidate confident of victory. This is what we've been going on since the previous administration, saying, and this is what HUD is all about. We were supposed to get homes, we were supposed to get business, the Chamber of Commerce, the schools, the city council, at that time, the city council members, the mayor, and the mayor did all he could, and John Patterson, they worked very well with it. The sad thing was that the mayor had no idea all this was going on, because the people under him, through the community development, were not being honest with him what was happening to us. So when we met with him many times, this mayor, which I give a lot of kudos with our community, he started opening his eyes. Did it ring? Because I don't want to keep on going. But anyway, so that's what I want to say, is this, what we got here, what we're going to, again, get involved, come to all the meetings for the community development, because it's us, it's our minis. And that's where it should be. And it should be more transparent. The community development should have more meetings with the people. Is it still? Has it gone? Has it closed? Oh, okay. So, I'm all over the place right now, but believe me, when we get organized and when I get myself together, like I said, we just got this Friday, I think. And I'm looking through this and I'm saying, what? Who's making these decisions? Anyway, that's all I have to say for this time. Thank you for your time.
Virginia.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
William Bryant, 2632 Gramercy Avenue. I just want to say that I appreciate a lot of the development that's gone on around the city with these new homes and that's being remodeled, like up in the Jefferson 27, 26, that area, and around town, that they're upgrading the appearance of the homes and stuff like that. I think that's a good idea. I don't know where the money's coming from for all of that, but I think that's a good thing. And there are a lot of homeless people. I think I've mentioned this before in another meeting several months ago. there's still the problem with the homeless. If there could be affordable housing for those people, and I realize that some of them may not seem to deserve it, but they need to get like mental health services and stuff like that. If we could, if they would be willing to go in and get counseling and treatment and stuff like that. I don't know how to motivate people that don't want to do that. They want to be free, and they say they don't need to do that. They just want to live free. But I appreciate the things that the mayor's been doing. I think he's got some good ideas. I like this bicycling thing. I think we need to do that for transportation and stuff like that. Get away from all this gas consumption of the vehicles on the streets and that. What else? I don't know. I guess I've said enough. I don't know. It's hard for me to get things out sometimes, but I have to think about it for a while and then write it down. And
Well, thank you.
all right.
Thank you, William.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Seeing no further movement, I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Blair, seconded by Vice Chair Gochner to close the public hearing. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2014-5, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2014-2015.
Second.
Have a motion by Vice Chair Gochner, seconded by Board Member Garter to adopt proposed resolution 2014-5. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Blair? Board Member Garner?
Aye.
Board Member Stevens?
Aye.
Board Member White?
Aye.
Board Member Wicks? Aye. Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye, that passes. Okay, next item on our agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding your concerns or ideas for the Ogden Redevelopment Agency. Please state your name and address clearly for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing no movement, comments from the RDA Executive Director?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Other board members? Okay, the next item is a closed executive session. Mr. Williams, would you like to?
Yes, Mr. Chair, a closed executive session is permissible for the purposes set forth in the agenda.
Thank you.
So with that, I would make a motion that we adjourn into a closed executive session for the reasons outlined on the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Wicks, seconded by Board Member Garner to move into a closed executive session. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Garner?
Aye.
Board Member Stevens?
Aye.
Board Member White? Board Member Wicks?
Aye.
Board Member Blair?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye, that passes. We will adjourn from the redevelopment agency meeting at the conclusion of our closed executive session in the other room, and that will conclude our business for the day.